So when we talk about field recording, what are we really talking about? It's more than just, hitting record on your phone somewhere, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's the craft of capturing the actual sounds of the world around us. Think of it like capturing a soundtrack from a quiet forest to a busy train station, but with specialized portable gear.
So you're taking all that sound and turning it into something like audio art.
Exactly. You're turning chaos into something purposeful. And today, we want to walk you through how to get started, all the fundamental steps from picking up a recorder to making that final audio sound amazing.
Okay, let's unpack that. We have to start with the gear. What's the one piece of equipment that really makes this possible?
That would be the digital audio recorder. It's the absolute core device, kind of the brain of your whole setup. It just captures the audio and saves it to a memory card.
And for beginners, you always see those small handheld ones. Is that the best place to start?
It really is. A handheld recorder is the gold standard for starting out because it's portable, it's easy to use, and all the important stuff is built right into one little unit. You can just focus on listening.
Right, because the goal is to capture the environment without being too obvious about it.
Yeah, exactly. The less gear you're fumbling with, the better. You can just focus on finding the sound.
Okay, so you've got the recorder, you've turned it on.
Hmm?
The next step has to be hearing what the device is hearing, not what your ears are hearing.
This is non-negotiable. You absolutely must have a good pair of high-quality over-ear headphones.
Closed back ones, right? The
Mm.
kind that cup your ears completely.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
vital. They physically block the outside noise, so you're isolated. You hear only what the microphones are picking up. It's how you check your audio levels in real time.
And you'd catch problems, like a buzzing sound or a loose cable right away.
Instantly. You'd hear it immediately.
I never really thought about how much just holding a recorder can mess things up. Every little movement from your hand must travel right into the mic.
You're touching on a really key professional habit there. To fight that, what we call handling noise, you need a sturdy tripod. It keeps the recorder perfectly still and stops all those low thumps and scratches.
Total isolation.
hmm And since you're often out somewhere remote, always carry extra batteries or a power bank. There's nothing worse than finding the perfect sound and then seeing that low battery light start flashing.
Right. So many of these handhelds have built-in mics, but eventually you want to upgrade to external ones for better quality. What's the one thing people forget about then?
The cables. You need secure, high-quality cables. They're the connection between your expensive microphone and the recorder. A cheap cable can add hiss or just, fail completely.
Okay, let's move on to the actual ears of the device,
Yeah,
the microphones. This is where it gets really interesting because they're turning physical sound waves into an electrical signal.
exactly. They are the most sensitive and important part of the whole chain. And the type of mic you choose completely changes the story you're going to tell.
Okay, so say I'm in a quiet forest. I want to capture really subtle sounds, like an insect crawling or a tiny drop of water. I'd need something super sensitive for that.
That's a perfect job for a condenser microphone. They are incredibly sensitive and just great at picking up those tiny high-frequency details.
But what about the opposite?
Mhm.
I'm in a city park, it's noisy, but I want to focus on just one sound, like a specific bird call, and ignore all the traffic around it.
That's when you'd grab a directional mic, often called a shotgun microphone. Think of it like a telephoto lens, but for sound.
Well, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it picks up sound from one specific direction and really tries to ignore everything coming from the sides. But if you wanted the whole wide, immersive sound of the park, you'd use a stereo pair of microphones.
This brings us to something called polar patterns. That sounds kind of technical.
It sounds more intimidating than it is. It's really just the microphone's listening shape. It describes the area around the mic that's most sensitive.
So an omnidirectional one hears everything all around it.
Yep, just like your own ears. It picks up sound equally from all directions, which is great for ambience. But a more focused pattern, like cardioid, mostly listens to what's in front of it. Understanding that is key.
And some of these high-end mics, they need their own power source, don't they?
They do. They often need something called phantom power. It's a small electrical current, usually 48 volts, that the recorder sends through the audio cable to power the mic's internal parts.
So you have to be careful with them.
Very careful. They're delicate. A single drop can easily break them.
All right, let's talk about the number one enemy of anyone recording outside, the wind. Even a tiny breeze can just completely ruin a recording.
It's the worst because when wind hits the microphone, it doesn't sound like wind. It creates this loud, rumbly, distorted noise, like a giant breathing right into the microphone.
You can't just edit that out later, can you?
Not Really, not without sacrificing the quality of everything else. Once it's in there, it's pretty much permanent.
So protection is everything. What are the tools for that?
You've got a few layers of defense. The most basic is a simple foam windshield. That's okay for indoors. But outside, when the wind picks up, you need what's called a dead cat.
The famous fuzzy cover. I've always wondered how that works.
The fuzzy fabric, it diffuses the air. It basically slows down the wind before it can hit the microphone itself, but it lets the sound waves pass right through.
And for really heavy wind.
Then you need the blimp. It's a hard plastic cage that goes around the whole microphone, creating a pocket of completely still air. It's the ultimate protection.
So you're stopping the air from moving, but letting the sound vibrations through.
That's the whole principle. And a pro tip is to always check the weather forecast. Then, before you start recording, just gently blow on the mic to test your setup.
That's smart.
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
we've got our gear. It's protected. Now, where do we actually go? Finding a good location seems like an art form in itself.
It really is. You're basically hunting for interesting sounds while trying to avoid constant boring noise like traffic hum or a loud air conditioner.
So what are some ideal spots? For nature, I imagine you want to get as far away from people as possible.
Pretty much. Deep forests, remote beaches, national parks, places where you can find genuine isolation. In a city, though, the challenge is different. You're not avoiding noise. You're looking for the right kind of noise.
Like a busy market or a train station.
Exactly. Or even interesting mechanical sounds, like an old elevator or a huge ventilation fan. Those can have amazing textures.
And the time of day must make a huge difference.
A massive difference. For bird sounds, you have to go out in the early morning for the dawn chorus. The air is still, there's less human noise, and the birds are most active.
We also have to think about the noise we make. Our footsteps, our clothes.
Right. You have to think about the ground you're walking on. Is it gravel, crunchy leaves? And it's so important to always get permission if you're on private property. That's a mistake you only make once.
Okay, let's get into the technical side a bit. Setting your input levels. This seems like where you can really make or break a recording before you even start.
Oh, for sure. This is all about preventing distortion. Your recorder shows the volume in decibels, or dB. The goal is to set your levels so the loudest sounds, the peaks, hit around minus 12 decibels.
Minus 12. Why not go higher to get the strongest possible signal?
Because that space between minus 12 and 0, that's your safety room. If your audio hits 0 dB, it clips. And clipping is this awful, harsh digital crunch that you can never, ever fix. The recording is just ruined.
What about the other way? If you're too careful and your levels are way too low?
That's a problem too. If they're too low, then when you turn up the volume later in your editing software, you're also going to turn up all the background hiss and static from the equipment itself. It just sounds cheap.
So you use the gain knob to find that sweet spot.
Exactly. You adjust the microphone sensitivity, and a good practice is to record a few seconds of silence first. That lets you hear the noise floor of your gear, the internal static it makes, so you know what you're dealing with.
We mentioned tripods, but let's go a bit deeper on avoiding handling noise. What else do pros do to keep the mic totally isolated?
Well, if you absolutely have to hold it, you stay perfectly still. But the best tool is a shock mount. It looks like a little cradle with elastic bands, and it physically isolates the mic from any vibrations coming up the stand.
It's easy to forget how much noise your own body makes.
It's huge. Wear soft clothing, nothing that rustles. And the best trick, if your recorder has it, is to use a remote control or a phone app to start recording. That way you're not recording the sound of yourself pressing the button.
That makes sense. So let's talk about specific places. Recording in nature must require a ton of patience.
Immense patience. Wildlife isn't going to perform for you. The best way is to set up your gear and then move away maybe 10 or 20 yards. You use long cables so you can monitor from a distance without scaring the animals.
And for getting a sound that's really far away, like a specific bird?
That's where you'd use a parabolic dish. It looks like a small satellite dish, and it collects distant sounds and focuses them right onto the microphone. It's like a giant zoom lens for your ears. But you always have to respect the environment.
Okay, let's flip to the city. Recording in an urban environment. Here, you're not waiting for sounds, you're hunting for them.
Yeah, cities are amazing for sound textures. You can record the rhythm of a construction site, the layered hum of traffic, the acoustics of a big public space.
Yeah.
You use your headphones to find what we call sound pockets, where echoes create really unique patterns.
And in the city, being discreet is super important, isn't it?
It's everything. You want people to act naturally. If they see you with a big microphone, they get self-conscious, and the whole sound of the space changes. And those real, authentic city sounds are incredible incredibly valuable for movies and video games.
Okay, let's bring it home. We have the recording. Now what? You mentioned monitoring, but why is listening with headphones while you record the number one rule?
Because it's your only insurance policy. It's the only way you'll hear that low hum from a dying battery, or the wind picking up, or a cable starting to crackle. If you wait till you get home, it's too late. The session is a bust.
And once you have the files, you have to organize them. This is the step everyone wants to skip.
But you can't. You should immediately rename your files. Something clear, like the date, location, and a short description. Use a good folder system and back everything up. And add metadata.
Metadata, so
Right.
the hidden details about the file.
Yeah, technical stuff, what microphone you used, what the weather was like. Years from now, when you're looking for a specific sound, that data is priceless. It saves you from having to listen to hundreds of files.
And finally, a little editing to polish it up. You need software, a digital audio workstation or DAW. What are the basic steps?
First, you just trim the start and end to get rid of you setting up and packing up. Second, and this is critical, use a high-pass filter. It's a tool that cuts out all that super low-frequency rumble like distant traffic or wind. It cleans up the audio dramatically.
And what about the volume?
You normalize it. That just brings the overall volume to a standard, consistent level. Then you can go in and fix any little clicks or pops and add short fades so the sound doesn't start or stop too suddenly. And please, always work on copies of your files, never the originals.
So once you have this polished piece of audio, what do you do with it?
You can share it, upload it to online sound libraries for other people to use, or start your own sound diary or podcast. Sound designers are always looking for unique, real-world recordings. Just be sure to pick a license, like Creative Commons, to protect your work.
So field recording really lets you take these simple, everyday sounds and turn them into something special, just by using the right gear, a lot of patience, and some smart editing.
It does. So the next time you're outside, really listen. Don't just hear everything as noise. Try to pick out one specific sound that's telling the story of where you are in that exact moment.
Good luck with your recordings.